Looking forward to meeting you.
Peter, Ivan, these are new guys. Fresh program participants. Redeeming their sins for the sake of humanity. None of our business.
The Sessionov's lost his mind. This isn't science anymore. This is murder.
Keep it down.
The agreement's in front of you. It's pretty straightforward. More of a formality. You understand.
The only difference between us and the subjects is a uniform and a paycheck.
He's one of the key elements. We need to take action, sir.
It's out of my hands.
Episode 2.
This looks really familiar.
In Fear I Trust's second episode has you exploring what is presumably Nikolai's school from his younger years. However, all is not right with this school's past. It doesn't take long at all before you realise that there have been some very unnatural events take place here. Even in the flashbacks, which are assumingly 100% true to what happened, there are some very unsettling events taking place. Even when all seems normal, there is a simple oddity always present. Sadly, all of the bugs and or design flaws which were in the first episode either make a return or are replaced. The biggest issue probably being that the field of view is way too low, and there is no slider to change it. Even after an extensive search through the game's files, we couldn't find a way to increase the nausea-inducing field of view. The only way to really get around it is to move the camera very unnaturally. Whether that is slow, minimal movements or very rapid, jerky movements, either one is only half a fix. Retrospective vision also returns, of course. However, this time it is a much more prominently used ability. You won't be getting through any of the puzzles without it this time around. Story-wise, episode 2 is 10 times as captivating as the first. The reason for the name, In Fear I Trust, is starting to become more apparent, and there really is a drive to find out what is really going on. Again, some of the papers are optional to pick up, but it's worth getting them just to progress the story a little bit. The flashbacks are quite interesting to watch and listen to as well, with the tension slowly rising with each.
Calling me that. Or what?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
I said don't. Don't call me that.
There are a few things scattered around the map that are truly unnerving in episode 2. Things such as the cliché to horror piano and ballerina, but also the more significant things like a basement, where the feeling of something simply being wrong is nailed to the wall. Absolutely perfect. The overall feel and atmosphere of the game is done fairly well. It has its faults, but generally speaking, it will keep you on the edge of your seat, at the least. There are a few things that pull you out of the moment, however, such as not being able to scale the stairs in this episode until the game wants you to. Even just an invisible wall would have been better than the solution used. You get flipped and disoriented, which is extremely confusing until you work out what actually happened. At first it's like you've been teleported or something. The atmosphere also has a few tense moments that again aren't perfect by any means, but are done well enough to get some genuine fear out of the player. There haven't been any jump scares or anything of the sort so far, which could be both good or bad depending on what the next episode brings. It could be very bad if the plan is to just keep building tension to the point where the player just gets over it and isn't scared at all, but it could also be very good if the tension is built to a high point then released by means such as a jump scare, which lets the cycle start over. All in all, the second episode has some decent improvements over the first. It takes a fair while longer, eliminating the time issue. It has some decent chunks of story scattered in, and it builds a good amount of tension. However, it also has its issues, such as the stairs that flip and disorient you, the puzzles that still aren't explained at all, but end up being almost too simple to finish once you've worked them out, and the extremely low field of view. In Fear I Trust is improving, but will it keep up this trend? Let's find out.